ahead on CCX News. 2 school districts, 2 issues to address.
We're being as strategic as we can.
First, why Robbinsdale schools are planning for budget cuts. Then, Anoka-Hennepin schools tackle growing class sizes. And later, what this January thaw could mean for spring.
Flooding potential is something that we're definitely concerned about.
CCX News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. We begin with a development concerning the Blue Line light rail extension.
The 13-mile line from Target Field to Brooklyn Park has received approval from the Federal Transit Administration. It's a critical milestone for the project that will also serve the communities of Golden Valley, Robbinsdale, and Crystal. Federal approval also guarantees federal funding, which is expected to pay for nearly half of the project's $1.5 billion cost. The project now enters the engineering phase. Passenger service is expected to begin in 2021.
Well, meanwhile, budget cuts for the Robbinsdale School District means making some tough decisions.
School officials say the cuts will stay far away from the classroom. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains the reason behind the shortfall and where the cuts will be made. Shannon?
The Robbinsdale School District says parts of the budget need restructuring for several reasons, and it's something they've known about since a 2014 report.
We're being as strategic as we can.
Superintendent Carlton Jenkins is adamant the budget won't impact classroom size and students won't notice a change.
What we're doing is staying away from the classroom. Our class size commitments that we've made, we're going to continue with those.
So changes will be made away from the classroom in offices with business services and with support personnel.
Some of those staff that were brought on with the stimulus dollars may not be here as we continue with our process. We know we're going to have to lose roughly 8 staff within that.
A report shows several factors driving budget changes: the loss of federal stimulus dollars, cost of living adjustments, and anticipated loss of state funding.
Another contributing factor to the budget shortfall is the renovation and reopening of schools like Sandburg Middle School and Pilgrim Lane Elementary.
Turning Sandburg Learning Center back into a middle school will ease overcrowding in the district's other 2 middle schools. Pilgrim Lane will become an arts elementary school feeding into Fair School Crystal. Both long-term strategic moves already in progress, but come with a $1.2 million price tag.
This is a short-term, long-term decision when we do budgets, and we're just trying to make us tighter now and preparing ourselves for what we're trying to do in the future with our students.
Again, the number of staff to be cut is roughly 8. However, this is still a work in progress with a final budget not expected to be passed until June. Delaney and Alex.
All right, thank you, Shannon. Well, from challenges in the Robbinsdale School District to those facing the Anoka-Hennepin School District.
According to a residential survey, most parents in the Anoka-Hennepin School District are happy with the education their kids are getting. But as Eric Nelson reports, they are concerned about growing class sizes.
I would say that we're running slightly above the metro average for class size within Anoka-Hennepin.
The Anoka-Hennepin district has a magnetic tug on parents and kids. The solid reputation of their schools has pulled many families into the district.
Our parents tell us that they notice our classes are larger.
But with the exception of kindergarten and first grade, this enrollment explosion has led to swollen classrooms.
A lot of it has to do with growth. Areas that had cornfields or sod farms are now houses. And we don't have schools in those locations.
From 6th grade through 12th grade, we're routinely bouncing around in the bottom 5 in the metro to the highest 5. Some of ours are the highest in the metro.
At the middle school level, classes typically have more students compared to others in the metro area.
It varies by grade. So at the earliest grades, we try to keep the smallest class sizes, and then they progressively get larger.
Meanwhile, the numbers continue to jump at the high school level, where the numbers again are more than the average in the metro.
We have to revisit our space across all of our sites to make sure that our secondary facilities and our elementary sites are the right size for those communities.
Classroom crowding is clearly having an impact on kids who sometimes get lost in the shuffle.
The great teachers they have are the teachers that have built a relationship with them. And it's hard to build a relationship in a 55-minute period when you've got 40 students to pay attention to.
Teachers also have more challenges when they deal with more students.
Teachers would say, I want to give more attention in my classroom, but with the number of kids I have, I can't pay as much attention.
I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Part of this growth also goes back to the economic downturn in 2009 when the Anoka-Hennepin schools increased class size by 2 across the board.
Now to a crime investigation police in Brooklyn Park are working on. Detectives are investigating a home invasion-style robbery. It happened shortly after 11 a.m. Wednesday at a home in the 8,000 block of Vincent Circle North. Police say the robber had on a mask. The victims inside were not hurt. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Canine and Crime Lab unit assisted with the investigation. Meanwhile, a notorious drug dealer is accused of supplying a fatal dose of heroin to a man in Robbinsdale. Jaquan Peoples, known on the street as Vampire, is charged with third-degree murder. Peoples is already in prison on a robbery conviction when charges were announced today in the Robbinsdale case. Peoples is accused of supplying a deadly mixture of heroin and other drugs that led to the death of 36-year-old Philip Moore of Robbinsdale. According to his obituary, Moore leaves behind a wife and a daughter.
Despite some concerns about density, the Maple Grove City Council approved initial plans for apartments and townhomes near Elm Creek Park Reserve. The project, called Elm Creek Estates, includes a 3-story apartment building containing nearly 100 units and about 70 row-style townhomes. It would be located on vacant land between County Road 81 and Territorial Road east of Fernbrook Lane. If the project receives final approval, construction of the townhomes would begin before the apartments. One resident who lives nearby spoke out against the plan. He preferred to see single-family homes and townhomes instead of higher density apartments. There was also concerns about the added traffic on Territorial Road.
After months of planning, a significant upgrade could take shape this summer at a Robbinsdale park. The Donato family has been raising money for improvements at Hollingsworth Park on the north shore of Crystal Lake. The park honors Tom Hollingsworth, the only Robbinsdale firefighter to die in the line of duty. The planned improvements include a sitting wall. Anchor Block donated 15 pallets of stone for the project. It also includes added plantings, a tribute to Victor Donato at Crystal Floors, who died unexpectedly in 2014. The Hollingsworth family gave the project its blessing.
And once we started talking to the family, they were very excited because the park is beautiful. It's been left alone for 32 years, so to bring a little bit of attention to it and change it up, I guess if we didn't do it, I don't think it ever would be done.
The third annual Victor Donato Mardi Gras Gala will raise additional funds for the project as well as support other local charities. The gala is Friday, February 3rd at Leopold's Mississippi Gardens in Brooklyn Park. For more information, go to victordonatomemorial.com. Well, coming up, our warm weather this week leaves some events out in the cold.
And then a little bit later in sports, a talented Heritage Christian Academy boys basketball team gets set for a huge game on Friday.
But first, even more melt on Friday with the chance for rain.
Step outside and you might have to remind yourself that it is in fact still January. The weather feels like early spring.
Yeah, the record today is 49 degrees. We're not going to break that, but we're not too far from the mark. Reporter Sonny Goins has more on the January thaw.
It's January and it's abnormal for it to be this warm.
What's not to love about this day? Sunny skies and little wind. You might say some folks are as happy as ducks in water.
Today it's awesome. Great day for outside.
There were plenty of people out and about on Parker's Lake enjoying our nice weather.
Well, it's beautiful. I've been cooped up inside. I'm a dog walker, so it's nice to finally get out and actually walk and get some exercise.
Our sudden warm-up is causing ice to melt on area lakes. Plymouth city officials canceled the annual Skate with the Mayor event due to warm weather.
We are about 15 degrees above normal this week. Typically our high temperatures are low 20s and we have already hit 40 degrees today.
And with all the thawing, meteorologists say there is the potential for flooding this spring.
We had a really wet fall, a really wet end of the year last year. So then when the ground froze, it froze extra groundwater in the ground. So we've got a lot of water already in the ground, and so any spring thunderstorms that will occur will definitely have a flooding issue.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
We could be in store for another record-breaking year. Last year, Hennepin County had above normal temperatures for every single month. Overall, 2016 was the 5th warmest year on record for Minnesota. Coming up, we head to Champlain Park High School to meet this week's standout student.
But first, the Wayzata Gymnastics team has made a big leap since the start of the season. Jason Melillo has that and more coming up next in sports.
Welcome back. I'm Jason Melillo with sports. It's expected that scores will go up as the season progresses for high school gymnastics teams. The Wayzata Trojans are having a strong season, and it's showing in the numbers. Wayzata won the Lakeville North Invitational last weekend, scoring a season-high 142.3. That could put them in the mix to contend with Champlain Park and Maple Grove in Section 5AA. In just over a month, the Trojans have taken a huge step up in scores.
I feel really confident. We've obviously improved by 19 points from our first meet, which is a huge accomplishment. We're now starting to put in all of our skills that we've been working on throughout the season, so hopefully the goal is by Saturday to have everything in so all of our routines can be perfected by sections.
I would say our vault and bars are pretty strong, and then we've just kept improving on beam, try to keep everyone on the beam.
Wayzata has its final home meet Thursday night as they host Hopkins. The Trojans have practiced and competed in a new gym at the high school after many years at Central Middle School, and there's no doubt that's made a difference.
I think it's good. Like, this is kind of like a new beginning because we're at the middle school for so long, so like it's like a fresh start for everyone, and like we're like really rethinking how we do things, and like the atmosphere of the whole team has changed for like the better, I feel like, and it's just working so much better now.
You know, this new gym's been really great. Some of us have been on the team for a long time, and I think it's great that we're finally up at the high school now because gymnastics has started to get the recognition that I think it really deserves, and we're getting more fans to the meets, and it's just been great to be at the high school with all the other sports.
You can watch the Trojans meet against Hopkins live on the web on CCX Sports. Just go to ccxmedia.org. It airs on our TV channels 12 and 799 Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. The local boys basketball teams like Champlain Park and Maple Grove draw plenty of headlines, but the talent pool is very deep in the area this winter. As Jay Wilcox reports, one of the area's smallest schools, Heritage Christian Academy, is also having a superb season.
For Heritage Christian, a talented, experienced group that's played a lot together adds up to a 10-1 start, a number 8 ranking in Class A.
It's been great. I mean, we're 10-1 right now. Our one loss was in overtime, and even losing that game was fun. So we've had a blast with every game. It's just been great.
Because, you know, this group of seniors we have, they've been getting a lot of playing time for 4 years, and we've been building to this point where they know what they're doing. Best team we've ever had here at Heritage in our 13-year history of high school.
While all games are important, Friday has a little extra flair for the Eagles. They host Class A's top-ranked team, Minneapolis North, in one of the biggest games in Heritage history.
Yeah, it's big. They're good, and the whole state knows it. And we're hoping to get in there and just play like another game and hopefully get the W.
And Heritage's potential path to the state tournament goes through North. They're in the same section. So seeing the mighty Polars during the season could be a big benefit if they meet again in the postseason.
As good as North is, they're not afraid. They played a lot of basketball. They know how this works. So they know what we have to do to be successful. But it'll be good to see them in person so that if we do have the chance to get them in sections, we have a better idea of what we have to do.
They've piled up some good wins, and now we'll see if Heritage is ready for the big stage. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Eagles and North tip off at 7:30 at Heritage on Friday night. Time again for our weekly ice fishing tip on CCX. Here's Terry Tuma.
You know, so often we're always relating to the senses of a species of fish. You got your sight, you got your hearing, you got your smell, your scent. You can go on and on. We all know what those factors are, but there's one ultimate test that we never talk about. That is what I call the taste test. The taste test means nothing more than that final decision for that species of fish that you're pursuing to either eat it or expel it. There are several species of fish, catfish, salmon, minnows, several species that have taste buds on the outside of their mouth, external taste buds. That's why we have to really concentrate on these negative taste test. The same as what we contaminate our food sources, our bait, in other words, and lures with. It can be in the wintertime, it can be gasoline, maybe you fill up your truck, or maybe you got a gas auger. Nicotine is a big, big factor. And the other two is that, so often, most of the time, we're going to wash our hands and face with bar soap, and that actually leaves a film on our hands. So these are all major factors in catching fish. We have to address it to continually have success on the ice. Be sure to tune next week for another tip and have a great week of fishing.
Thank you very much, Terry, Delaney, and Alex. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jason. We'll be right back. Becoming an elite athlete requires dedication and hours of training.
Add academics into the mix, and that presents another set of challenges. But today's standout student from Champlain Park High School shows what it takes to be a successful student athlete.
One of you is going to be the scriber.
Within the walls of Champlain Park High School, you'll find Olivia Trautman, a note-taking, hoodie-wearing 16-year-old junior who has a passion for biology and chemistry.
When I go to college, I hope to do something in the medical field and excel from there.
That, however, is years down the road. Right now, she's excelling in a field where she's been involved since age 3. Specifically, the world of gymnastics.
So I'm 16, so I'm considered a senior, and then you compete at nationals and classics and hope to do well, and then if you do well, you make the national team, which makes you go compete for the U.S.
This year, she hopes to make the senior national team and compete internationally. She spends 28 hours a week working on her craft.
Every day after school, I go for about 4.5 hours. 2 days a week, I go 2 hours before school, and then Saturdays I train also.
All the while, she maintains A's and B's in her classes, an indication that she's learned how to budget her time like any student athlete tries to do.
The teachers are really flexible, and they help me as much as they can, and I try to use my time management skills to get ahead of the game.
Her teachers don't mince words when asked about her success.
She's able to commit herself to her gymnastics. She commits herself to her education. I think she's got a bright future. I think she can do whatever she would like to do.
Speaking of her future, she's already set to go to the University of Oklahoma on a gymnastics scholarship.
Oklahoma obviously has a great gymnastics program, and now that's something she won't have to worry about, the whole recruiting thing and being distracted and stuff. And she is very excited about making that next step.
Olivia says she does all 4 events, but her best are the floor exercise and the vault. When asked about whether she has aspirations to compete in the 2020 Olympics, she said it all depends on how her body holds up. So, a remarkable young woman.
Yeah, remember the name.
Absolutely. That's all the news for now. Thanks for joining us.
We will see you back here on Friday.